Hey guys, it's Matt. This is a TPS report video after these thumbnail images of the movie Poltergeist. I probably will go over to the concentric reality rings document, but I don't think you'll need to see it at all. This definitely is not a Bathroom Boys video. It's going to unfold slowly, go into a lot of different things, and then go all over the place. You'll run out of toilet paper way before I'm finished. But the main premise of this video, it might take a few minutes to get there, is I keep calling this thing not Nilk. Carol Ann says, "They're here." I keep calling it not Nilk, and then mistakenly, I keep calling it like the reality itself. And people have got on me for this, and they should get on me for this. This is a clarification video. There is definitely a dividing line, of course, between not Nilk reality and the natural world. The trees, the grass, your pets, the birds. There's nothing sinister, in my opinion, whatsoever, whether that is part of the game board illusion. There's an absolute dividing line between not Nilk, the evil. People talk about reality overlays. I don't know what that means, but there's truth in it because it gets my attention every time. It's like the creeps trying to break through in Carol Ann's closet. And people have got on me and said, Matt, you can't keep saying the reality. And, absolutely, but let me clarify that here. I mean the dark reality. The thing trying to break through or has already broken through. It's here. Yeah, it's here, Carol Ann. The George Bush creatures, the creeps. But this is not, if I talk about this place, in my opinion, as being very fluid reality, more of an illusion than anything that's real. Certainly the natural world of trees, bushes, grass, birds, beautiful animals, pets, has nothing at all to do with the reality of the George Bush creatures, which is basically like a parasite or a virus, whether it serves a role here for us or not. So the people that have gotten on me are right. I've used it too loosely over the years. The reality's out to distract, I say. The reality's out to keep us from understanding why we're here or who we really are in the short period we call a lifetime. And I'm going to probably continue to fall back to that, but I want to clarify it here. Of course, I don't mean the trees and bushes are part of that reality. It's the dark reality, the not Nilk. The thing a lot of the truthers believe shouldn't be here. They hijacked it. I believe they should be here. I believe it's all part of the learning experience. Personally, I don't think the George Bush creatures or the highest level minions of the not Nilk themselves understand their real role here. I think they believe they have it all figured out, and they're the masters of the universe, and what buttons and levers they push, they can see the effect on reality, they can see the effect on the masses. I think they're all into themselves. They probably spend a lot of time in front of the mirror, but I think if you back up far enough to whoever laid this game board down, whatever your religion is, your God, an aspect of your higher self, they put these creeps here for a reason. No doubt about it, in my opinion. The creeps believe, as the masters of the universe, they have it all figured out. I don't even think they know how they're being used in this reality by whoever laid it down. You think whoever laid this reality down is a little bit more powerful than your favorite minion that you could think of now that you might want to put on a Christmas ball? All of us in the truth community over the years have given them way too much credit. Even so much so is for the Mandela effect that people say, oh, the creeps, they changed my Jif peanut butter. How did the creeps do that? Look, it's possible it's a side effect of something they're dabbling in like CERN, but we'll leave all that for another time. If they did have a hand in something like the Mandela effect, whether you believe in it or not, it's a side effect. They didn't do it. They didn't go take Dolly's braces away or whatever. They're not that powerful. They believe they have it all figured out, in my opinion, and I don't even think they know how they're being used. What do you mean, Matt? How could they be used? In what way? We know that that's a possibility because we've benefited. We have benefited from the creeps and the actions of the creeps and seeing basically what not to do. One of my favorite slogans associated with parents, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to my parents. I love them and I've learned lots of things over the years, but one of the greatest things you get from your parents is how not to be. How many times have you said, "Oh my gosh, I don't ever want to do that when I'm older," or "My mother is so like this," or "My father is so like." Then it shows you how not to be. This is similar. It's not the only role I think the creeps play for us, but that we have benefited tremendously. I mean, if it wasn't for the submission of the job application in 2001 to the 7-Eleven stores along Market Street, if it wasn't for that and some other big things, I mean, I'd probably still be stuck in the Matrix. There's no reason to, quote, wake up and explore other things, which hopefully lead you back to yourself, if it wasn't for, and don't please take my words out of context. Someone will clip this and clip that, like, look, Matt supports the creeps. Sergeant Evertsberg, you like the skinnies? You know, I respect him. I don't. That's what he says about the skinnies in Black Hawk Down. Sergeant Evertsberg, you like the skinnies? No, I don't like the creeps. I don't. But whether it's for whatever reason, we have benefited. I wouldn't go back from all that I've learned. The creeps are a necessary part of this reality to facilitate wake up. Almost every great story or fable or fairy tale needs a bad guy, right? That's what this is. Don't read too much into this reality. We came in here. It's a fable, a fairy tale, whatever. It needs a bad guy. It's pretty much that simple. Here's my same example I've used a million times. And now I feel bad about using this sort of thing now because I realize how many parents allow younger people to listen to this, but this really isn't for young children. I mean, my humor goes here. I'm sorry, and it's not. I can't tone it down for younger kids. But lying around, if the whole reality was lying around under palm trees naked with a big bottle of lube, you wouldn't learn anything. You need the creeps. Any story or fable needs a bad guy. Matt, that's such an oversimplification. Got the whole thing narrowed down to like a Humpty Dumpty fable. Why is it an oversimplification? So honestly, why does it have to be complicated? You don't think a trial, some sort of hardship, a bad guy, some things to overcome, that's not going to be necessary in a reality that pretty much is designed for you? Okay, the main understanding in the truth community is the creeps have hijacked reality. And they don't take it much farther than that. That says to me that what their role here was not intended in any way. Just lying around under palm trees is what it was supposed to be. And this creep came in through the closet, the top left picture. The hole opened up in Carol Ann's closet, and now they're here. Even if from their perspective, they have hijacked it and they've gotten a bit out of control, it's still within the parameters where we're actually benefiting. We're learning about the nature of reality, which teaches us about ourselves. Again, T-Rex in the Jurassic Park was supposed to stay behind the damn wires, the electrified fence or whatever, even if the T-Rex in this reality has broken through. I mean, if you're in the middle of Jurassic Park taking those little Jeeps around, it's a disaster, of course. But back up from the movie Jurassic Park, did it affect anybody else around the world? Were the creeps, when the T-Rex broke through the damn electrified fence? Well, okay, that was bad right there for the people, but it didn't really do anything. It wasn't like the end of the world or anything. I mean, okay, the creeps imagine George Bush with the little tiny arms and a T-Rex head breaking through the electrified fence, and that's maybe a composite of what these creeps have done in this day and age. Okay, well, can we get them back behind the electrified fence? If they're going to be out, let's learn what we can. I'm not that worried about it. Again, if they had us at death or where it really matters, recycled back over and over, they wouldn't be working so hard on us in life. The main area I have in common with the many Christians that are at this channel is, of course, the concept of Satan. Because, we see there's something very wrong here. Our friends and family and cousins think it's just as it should be. And Matt, it's the best a modern society can do. They call it Satan. I kill it. I call it not milk. They call it the screen. And Christians have said, Matt, the way you describe the screen, not milk, minions on behalf of the screen, minions on behalf of a presence, an evil that's meant to be the corrupter, the distractor, the adversary. It's basically, just call it Satan, Matt. Well, I'm not going to call it Satan, but I agree. It is very similar, the concept of Satan versus what I talk about, the screen and the not milk. But again, one of the main parts of this video, remember, that is not the natural environment. So when I say the reality is out to corrupt, I mean the dark part, the part that came through Carol Ann's closet a long, long time ago. So to continue with this and apply my general belief sets about not milk, and maybe we'll get to the circular reality rings diagram in just a moment, to a Christian's notion or understanding of Satan. Again, I should be more versed in this, but my understanding is Satan was the one, Lucifer, Satan. For now, let's just say it's the same thing. There are many smart people that think it's two completely different things. For now, it's the same thing. I'm just going to call it Satan. My understanding is Satan was the one that initiated the first action, swung the first punch. I'm going to rebel and whatever. A third of the angels left and all. But see, if you want to apply my belief set to these Christian topics we're talking about now, I would believe then that Satan was used and set up by God. He thinks he is rebelling. He thinks he's all along he's being used. If you apply these Christian terms, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, stories, to what I believe, that, Satan thought he was this and rebelled. And in this case, I would say, this isn't my exact belief set. Matt, stop apologizing for that. God knew exactly what, quote, he was doing. Satan's being used to fulfill a role. The Bible does not say directly and outright that a third of the angels followed Lucifer when Lucifer gave, I guess, some sort of an elevator pitch to the other angels. Say, let's get out of here. We're out of here. He got a third to go with him. Bible doesn't say that outright, but it is inferred if you put different sections together. That's my understanding. And of course, we've all heard the story a million times that a third of the angels followed Lucifer / Satan, and that's where you get the 33 and all that. But let's examine each of the three parties in what many would say is the most significant moment in the history of all histories. The moment Lucifer said, I'm out of here. I'm going to rebel. Okay, you can understand Lucifer doing that. The tragic story of somebody biting off more than they can chew and the unbridled quest for power. This is a motif that kind of, I don't know, it keeps coming around and around. You can understand Lucifer's actions. A lot of entities, things, beings, whatever, they try to go for, they shoot too high, okay? You can understand that, okay? And it's part of the story. But how did he get the third to go with them? And we'll examine, again, go back to potentially God's motivations here in setting the whole thing up, making them think that they're rebelling and they're doing it all on their own when it's all a big setup, most likely. But let's just look at the third that went with Lucifer. How'd that elevator pitch go? They're in heaven, right? You know, he's making this pitch to Lucifer's like, come with me. We can be gods in our own right. We can get out of here. They're in heaven. Okay, I can't picture that. I only know what I know here. So it'd be like, imagine Southern California before any infrastructure, before any smog or pollution. How incredible it was maybe for the Native Americans in the 1500s, 1600s. Beautiful blue skies, temperate. You know, they have the mountains and they have the ocean. And it must have been incredible before they came in and built the highways in the 50s. So this is where Lucifer's in heaven. They're in heaven. He's making a pitch. You know what he's offering them? Kensington, Philadelphia. He's offering, we can come with me. We can get a third of you to follow me to Kensington. He's offering earth, right? Didn't Jesus say he fell to earth via lightning? He's offering earth. Who would choose that? They're already in heaven. It don't make no sense. Okay, Lucifer's actions and the unbridled quest for power makes sense. But for a third, how dumb was the third that went with them? Again, they're already in heaven. How great was his elevator pitch? I mean, just imagine like a group of people sitting around a Ruth's Chris steakhouse. 20 people, a corporate function at a Ruth's Chris steakhouse. There used to be one in the King of Prussia area called Morton's. What a ripoff that place was. I think a roll was like $12. Morton's. So Lucifer stands up at the steakhouse. Everybody's porterhouse and filet mignon. Domenico's just about to come out, a medium rare, and a roll is $12. You got your mashed potatoes and your gravy. He's like, come on, we're out of here. They're in heaven. We're out of here. What are you offering us? Come on, I can get a third of you to come with me. We can find some place better. I can rule over it. Where? We're here at Ruth's Chris, Arby's, or Wendy's, or McDonald's. The McRib is back. What the hell could he have possibly offered these third to come with him and get up and slide their chair back at Ruth's Chris and walk out? These dumbass third, they're the real dummies. Let's look at God's role, or use common sense to look at what God's role must have been through all of this. I don't know that this happened. I don't know it didn't happen. It's not really my religion or thing, but I'm going to just go with it here. Okay, so from a Christian perspective, this is God. Kind of powerful? Kind of. Where did Lucifer come from? Well, created by God, right? So God, let me just get this straight. This is the story that we're told. God had no idea that Lucifer was going to get out of control. What's from that movie? It's Animal House. He's like, I'll swear you were doing a great job watching your brother's car. And when we went outside, it was gone. God had no idea. Or what's more likely, it was all a big setup, and God knew exactly what Lucifer would do. And God played his broke ass. What's more likely from a common sense perspective? Well, a Christian saying to me, Matt, throwing major rubber duckies. Matt, that's not what the Bible says or what we're told. I don't care what we're told. Again, the Bible was in the hands of kings and queens for about 1,500 years before anybody was allowed to see it. There was no chance any part of it was removed from your eyes where you couldn't see it. Yeah. Who's King James, and why would I trust him? Right? So I don't care what it says. Use common sense. Oh, God didn't know Lucifer was going to get out of control. It just completely blindsided. Oh, sure. Or maybe the whole thing's a setup, and we're going to get Lucifer to fall into this trap, and then he's going to go down and play a role and whip these mofos called human beings into shape. And they're going to learn a lesson from the nastiness and the ugliness, and they're going to learn a lesson from the George Bush creatures and the creeps, or they even say the Luciferians here, and the spirit cookers. Yeah, to me, it's a big, if it's true, it's a setup. Rubber duckies are flying. Matt, you talk definitively. You talk out your ass. You don't know what you're... Fine. All I'm pointing out is one simple thing. I don't want to talk definitively about something I don't know anything about, but I do know something about common sense. There's 3 parts to the story. 2 of the 3 make no sense. Matt just dropped a 666. 2 divided by 3 is 666. If that equals 666, was not my intention. In it, from a first grade level, 2 components of the 3 make no sense. Lucifer getting out of control makes sense. That's what happens to people, things, entities, unbridled quest for power, or again, a motif that's repeated throughout the trillions and trillions of millennia. That makes sense. Somebody wants more than they should. That makes sense. That's what happens to things and entities. A third going with them to Kensington don't make no sense. God just being completely blindsided, he had no idea. Yeah, sure, that makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense, it was all by design, which gets back to the role of the creeps here and this whole place. It's by design. Let's keep sticking with the Carol Ann Poltergeist exciting thumbnail images because it's absolutely needed for this section. This motif in movies and art and literature, stories, fairy tales repeats over and over again, where you have the top left, the giant hole being punched into Robbie's room, Carol Ann's room. Something wants to get close to a real spirit, a real bright light. They crave something they don't have. You know what I'm going to say, so I know many of you have been here for years. You don't hear the same old thing, but these creeps are different from us. We are Carol Ann in this metaphor. They are whatever's trying to come through the hole in the closet in Robbie's room and Carol Ann's room. We are different from these creeps. Remember what they said in the movie? Like they want it near her. It's the same as the strangers in Dark City. But John, they study the human soul because it's the one thing they do not possess. They are fascinated by the human soul. They don't have, I don't know what they have, but it's not the same in my opinion, as us, we. I'm not saying this to make myself feel better. Tony described it as a different type of entity or incarnation here, a game-addicted entity versus somebody like you and me that's more spiritually advanced. The thing wants to stand next to Carol Ann. It wants to get up in her business. That's what they're doing to us. What do they get out of it? They get credits to play at the arcade? Do they get loosh? They know it's their role. Do they get a punishment if they don't get a certain quota? I don't know. They're playing a role, and who the real clueless people here is us. Well, we're starting to get a clue now, but we come in here, Tommy, the deaf, dumb, and blind kid. We have to be clueless for this to work. One of the big things I hear on other channels is how this game isn't fair, or there's no way this can be what was intended, because what school do you go into, or what test do you go into? You don't know the parameters. You don't know how to win. But guess what gives it away? We're winning. We are winning. So if that's right, how could it be a test or a school or designed this way if we weren't given the parameters? We don't know one damn thing coming in. We're completely mind wiped. We're completely Tommy. We don't know how to pass the test, what it takes to win. But see, the proof's in the pudding. We are winning, obviously. Think of what we know now in just a short period of time on steroids. What was it? Roughly 20 years ago. I knew nothing. I was watching CNBC. I had just left the news. I could just sense deep down this news is a waste of time. I didn't know exactly what was going on. I didn't know how false it was. I didn't know 99 point whatever was all coming from the same Ministry of Information, which is just Reuters Thompson's AP. It's the same damn thing. It's the same damn three-headed Hydra. But I sensed it's like, this is all bullshit. Or I didn't want it. It's all negative, and I still thought it was real 20 years ago. But I'm like, I'm just going to watch CNBC. At least as I put this damn television on, as I eat my lunch every day, I'll learn something about the stock market, and that's useful. I believed that would be useful. I didn't know shit about shit. Neither did you at some point, probably. Not many people, the first day of the 7-Eleven job application, when it was submitted, the very first afternoon, people like Greg was like, that can't happen. And not many of us are like that. But it's still overall the progression of where we are after just 20 years. 20 years to come to this level of understanding, even though we have a little bit more work to do, and we certainly have to put the time in on ourselves. This is tremendously good news. If you back up far enough, somebody would say it could take lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes to facilitate the understanding we have now in just 20 years. Now, this is great news, and guess who made this possible? It's like the damn letters that sponsor Sesame Street. The creeps made this possible. I don't think they're trying to help us. Like, the Hillary Clinton goes to bed. Like, I want to help those people. No, I'll say it this 800th time. It's the little snake on your arm that bites you because the guy's trying to build up immunity. The little snake is just trying to bite. What did Trump say when he read that parable? And he gave that woman a vicious bite. It's just trying to bite. It doesn't, but the guy's using little snake to build up immunity. That's what we're doing. We're using the little snake to build our armor and our immunity. That's kind of one of the main purposes of the entire reality, in my opinion. So again, when people say this can't be fair, this isn't a test, we don't know how to win, that is so easily overcome because the proof is in the pudding. We are winning and understanding what we need and doing what we need to do. Coming in here completely blind. Therefore, there's no doubt in my mind it was designed this way. Matt, don't you know you're screwed. At death, they're going to recycle you back. You have no chance. Oh, sure. Yeah. If you don't follow Wes Penray's advice exactly, you're really in trouble. See, there's one thing that kind of gives these creeps away. They work too hard in life. They're working. If they had me at death, why are they working so hard now? If I know I'm going to lose my girlfriend, and it is the vintage space chick, then I'm going to try to work real hard to get on her good side and maybe put dead flowers together and things like the things I know she likes. I have to work hard. If I know she's in my pocket, That means that I can take this vintage space chick on a Naked and Afraid anytime I want. If I know she's just going to bow down and serve me the Chef Boyardee every night and then clean the dishes, I don't have to do a damn thing. These creeps work so hard, it gives their position away as not very secure. Sorry, vintage space chick. I'm picking on you too much recently. Let's have lunch. Guys, the video's over, but some of you might want to hang with me for about 10 more minutes. Just want to talk about this movie, Poltergeist. I'm going to put it back on my list as soon as I can, not just for the truth that comes through it, because it's a darn good movie. I don't remember the last time I saw it was. 1982 is the year of the movie. That little girl, Heather O'Rourke, I think her last name is, she died right after the filming of Poltergeist 3. So they did 1, 2, and 3. 2, the creepy old man in the hat that approaches the door in the rain. Hi, little girl. That's not that great, 2. But 3, I don't even know if I remember 3. I think 2 wasn't very good, and 3 was probably even worse. She died right after 3, I believe. And it was some sort of, I don't know what you call it, like sepsis or a poisoning. Her insides, like, not an appendicitis, but something like that associated with her bowels. I don't know exactly what it was, but apparently she got sick one day, a day and a half, and she had died. And her sister in the movie, the older sister, who was only in about 15 minutes of Poltergeist 1, she gives the middle finger to the construction workers constructing the pool. She died in real life just a year or two, I think, after Poltergeist 1. Her boyfriend apparently strangled her and then went to jail. I mean, think about that. Both of the daughters died. One right after Poltergeist 1 and one right after Poltergeist 3. One of the really interesting things in the movie that I've never talked about, I've never heard anybody talk about it, is how there's a combination of what the sinister element or whatever is coming through that they're here in the movie. Of course, when we saw it way back when, we didn't put 2 and 2 together and combine the technology of the TV with the poltergeist. You know, we forgot that the TV was the initial element used where Carol Ann could hear them, or the TV people, or you could hear them, or the whispers coming through the TV. Then it morphed into more of a ghost story or demons or something like The Exorcist, where it's just about, you know, demons and devils and whatever the poltergeist may be or whatever. You forgot about the technology element, but that was a huge part and probably related to a lot of the truth drops that come out of this movie. Remember, you know, they're here. What does the woman say? The little old woman who is the psychic. She says, well, first off, when she starts her soliloquy or whatever to the family. I know it's not Shakespeare. It's not exactly a soliloquy. Her speech to the family, I think she starts it off with, "There is no death." Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, exactly. It's full of truth. Something was apparently strong enough to punch a hole into this world. You know, all that, but all of that stems from technology. You know, the first scene is the TV people. And I've never put 2 and 2 together on that, but they're absolutely related in some way. It's never said at all in the movie. It's never even hinted. But can one assume that, again, if you don't know this movie, the TV is a huge part of the opening scenes where Caroline first detects their presence. Can one assume that without the TV and technology, they would not have been able to invade the home or punch into this reality? I mean, I hear what your inner knowing saying, because mine's saying the same thing, at least the way this movie is making its presentation. We're not told this directly, but it's pretty clear that without the technology, they would not be able to, quote, punch a hole into this reality and come through the closet. And of course, that leads us to what's going on now. How is the technology used to facilitate the dark part of reality here? Of is it, you know, we get the notion it's far more than a tool, far more than a crutch. It needs the technology somehow. The technology of today is it's quote, new black magic. So it's just interesting that even, even when we thought about some of this truth stuff, we didn't put the TV together with the demons and devils and archonic beings coming out of the closet that want to be near Carol Ann. We just thought, I guess it was just a way to introduce the presence, but I think it's more than that. It's making some sort of a statement, in my opinion, about the dark element using the technology, or at least being one with the technology. She calls them the TV people. The pure truth comes from the child's mind, from Carol Ann. She doesn't say the vampire, the demon, the devil, the werewolf. It's just the TV people. And there's your truth. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but this keeps popping up over the last few minutes. I want to talk about it. I don't know why, but it's significant somehow. The people that come in to help initially, before the psychic, it's like a team of paranormal investigators. There's a white guy in his 30s, a black guy in his 30s, and a woman who's a little older, I guess about in her 50s. And the black guy at some point says, or somebody says, outer space, and they're trying to explain the paranormal to the family that I guess has never come in contact with the paranormal before. And somebody says outer space, and then he says inner space. I don't know why that's significant, but I'm going to pay a lot of attention to it the next time I watch this movie. As soon as somebody says outer space, and he comes right back with inner space, I don't even know why. I'm just saying it screams out as being important for some reason. Now I don't know why, but I just wanted to note that here. And of course, no movie that comes from Hollywood or Steven Spielberg, will have truth drops and things where we have to read between the lines. Nothing is going to be blatant, pure truth. Of course, it's always going to be filled with deception and things like that. So, of course, you have your standard presentation of however before the psychic, again, the older woman is giving the speech to the family about how some people die and they don't know they're really dead, and they don't want to cross over where family and friends are waiting. And of course, it gets into the same old thing. We'll see millions of more times in our pursuit of truth and people's different takes on go into the light or not into the light. And I need to, for myself, I guess, have a better understanding of what my own personal belief set is on that, other than the fact that I keep saying it seems pretty convenient and pretty easy way out, Matt, to keep saying, well, we've done the work here in life, so that will carry over into death. But still, if there's that light, are you going to go into it or not? I need to at least come up. I might change my opinion on it, but I need to come up with at least my personal belief set on into the light or not into the light. But there's that whole notion, again, a movie from Steven Spielberg is also going to be filled with deception. They didn't want to cross over. They didn't want to go into the light. And is that the deception in Poltergeist? I mean, it's something to watch out for. Again, I'm just trying to remember vaguely what this movie, I'll remember exactly what it's all about, but I don't remember it specifically. It's been a little while since I've seen it. After pausing and just thinking for about a minute, there is that huge part about Carol Ann go into the light and then saying, no, Carol Ann, don't go into the light. And the mother's like, well, you told her to go towards the light. And you can see is there something being said in that part of the movie, like from a truth perspective, potentially. Matt, you guys read into every little scene in every little movie is not delivering some metaphysical truth. I hear you. Sometimes we go a little bit too far. And maybe we latch on a little bit more than we should. And sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. But, just keep that in mind, but go with this for now. In the movie, we know what she's trying to do. If they're following Carol Ann, the demons and the beasts and the minions or whatever is attracted to Carol Ann, if they're following her, well, she tells Carol Ann to go into the light to get them closer to the light. Hopefully they'll go in because it's presented as that's the loving place to go to heaven and be with pets and family and friends. And then she says, no, Carol Ann, don't go into the light, because she's a living being. She's supposed to come back, through the bathtub. So she's just used as a Pied Piper to lure the beast and the minions or whatever, the demon things, to the light to help them and then to get Carol Ann back. So you could see how she's used, but just the way they presented in the movie, where the mother looks to, I guess, the little psychic and says, "No, no, you said don't go into the light." There's this light confusion that's presented. So I'm gonna pay close attention to that part as well when I watch it again. And again, don't. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Matt, that was needed actually to make the movie. They actually made movies to please people back then, Matt. Not everything is going to be some gigantic metaphysical truth. I hear you. You're right. I'm just saying, let's just look at it. If we determine it to be nothing, then we determine it to be nothing. The quote, "Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar," is attributed to Sigmund Freud, but there's probably nothing in his works or books you can point to. I think it's probably BS, and it's a reaction to Freud, because it seems like the Freudian way is to look into things too much. And, oh, you had a dream about an ice cream cone? Oh, that means what flavor was the ice cream cone? Oh, that means you really secretly love your cousin and you want to marry and run away with your cousin like hee-haw. I mean, Sigmund Freud, they look into things too much, and the reaction to it is, no, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. It doesn't mean shit. Last part, the video's really over now, guys. Just a personal story. There was a lot of buzz about this movie. What was the other movie that came out about the same time? There was a buzz about two movies at the time. Again, this is 82, going into this summer. It was a big deal, guys. I mean, I'm 50. What the hell? How old am I? I don't even know. I'm 52. 52? Are you kidding me? It was a big deal going to see some of the blockbuster movies. The Poltergeist, I think the other one at the time was E.T., or was it Close Encounters? I don't know. Now, Close Encounters must be a few years older. But it was you days ahead. It's like, to my cousins, are we going up to the Strand on the Ocean City Boardwalk? Or the other one was called the Moreland Theater to see Poltergeist. And 2 or 3 days out, you were talking about it. This is what the theater experience was. It was a big deal, and it really was. I don't care about, Matt, don't you know that the one from the Hollywood, oh yeah, Pootie Tang Award. Yeah, I know all that. But it was still, some of these old movies are great. Matt, you can't ever give them praise. They're meant to deceive. I don't care. I don't care. A lot of old movies were great, and the experience going to see them was a great thing. Going up with your cousins or 4 or 5 people in the family, 2 days out, start talking about it, and getting some boardwalk pizza, and then you sit in the theater, and it's like 10, 20 minutes before, there's a curtain that's pulled across and all the trailers and a big thing of popcorn. That is a, quote, human experience with friends, with family. It's much more positive than negative. And it's one more thing that, unfortunately, today's youth has been robbed of. Thanks for listening.